Lil Tecca dropped his self-titled project Tech last week for us. I think this project caught a lot of people off guard. I think it ended up being way better than even I anticipated as a Tecca fan. So let's go ahead and jump right into this tier list. As we do for all the tier lists on this channel, we got 5 tiers. We'll do the tier list, front of the album all the way to the back. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Yves Saint Laurent. It's got very smooth Benny X production on it. I find this one of the catchiest songs on the project. Maybe I'm a little biased because he did drop a fire music video to it, which I mean, all the music videos were also very simple, just kind of performance style shots in New York. And so lots of these songs on the album had like pretty much the same structure of chorus verse chorus, and I think he did exactly what he needed to do on this project. This is my favorite song right now in the last couple days. It's been on repeat. It's a very great way to start the album, and then of course we get transitions into the next track, which Tecca also produced with Benny X. Heaven on Earth, this was one of the singles. I'll put that right below it at A tier. I think that this is still one of the better songs on the project. The beat is basically its own little feature. Kodak on his verse did grow on me, since the single released. I still feel like both artists are kind of doing their own thing and have their own flow. I don't know if it was like the greatest collaboration of all time, but I'm also not complaining. This song's definitely in rotation. It's super catchy. Next after that, track 3, Gist. I'm gonna go ahead and put this at fire. I think it's a good, album song. It's got a little bit of a bounce to it, but it's just kind of like a shorter, chill melodic song, and I really, can't complain. He started off this album very well. So yeah, I'll put Gist at A tier, but it's got one of the best transitions on the project, because after that we get 500 Pounds, which is also one of the singles, and that song definitely brought me back into enjoying Tecca's music on another level, way more again. I think this type of beat with, that synth that Taz Taylor, produced for us was just very special. And Tecca, performance wise on pretty much every song did exactly what he needed to do. I think the song structure was on point, and going back to that beat, I also think similar to Heaven on Earth, I think the beat as well almost just seems like a feature because how prominent it is and how good it is. But you could tell from the first few tracks, the production and the quality we're getting with the transitions and the mixing and the mastering, everyone was doing their part at this point in the album. And I just knew, and I called this before the album released, I knew that he was stepping up his production level, and that was huge in the factor of how much I enjoy this album. And I feel like a lot of other people are recognizing that as well. But to keep going in the tier list, you don't really get too much of a transition going into this Ken Carson song, but for me, Fell in Love is also an S tier. I think that this is still basically a Ken Carson song, and while this album is still, just a trap album, we're not getting the same beats over and over again like Lil Baby would have on his album. I like that Tecca added one song with kind of like a rage beat on it, and so not every beat on the project was the same, and there was different tempos and everything, so I really appreciate that. Like I said, it basically does seem like a Ken Carson song, but the way that they went back and forth was very cool. I'm glad that this song turned out so well because Ken and Tecca are kind of now like a little bit of a duo, I'd say, and I'm very excited for Ken's album on October 13th, assuming it drops. Let's get into the next song. I'm gonna go ahead and put Tech at Good. For me, I thought that it's kind of just a shorter album song. I don't think I'd play it, outside of listening to the album. He did kind of like a spelling type flow a little bit, which I thought was kind of cool. It's kind of catchy. But yeah, it's a cool little album song. This has a very like seamless, flawless transition into the next song though, Salty, which I'm also gonna put next to it in the good category, or my B tier. I think I said on the stream that this beat on Salty had me feeling like I was on Aladdin's carpet. I kind of like Salty for the beat. I don't really remember too much of what he was saying on that song. Next up on the project, I thought Real Discussions is also gonna go in that good B category. Just very slower melodic type Tecca. This song sounded like it could have been on Virgo World, right? And I think this one has an insane transition to Dead or Alive, which is gonna be an S tier. Dead or Alive was like my favorite snippet going into the project, so I was glad that he ended up dropping that a couple days before the album it came out. It's very short and to the point, just 2 minutes long, chorus verse chorus. I really liked this. Is one of my favorite verses on the entire project, and one of the best performances on the project in my opinion with Dead or Alive. Shouting out Juice and kind of interpolating and saying one of the lines from Juice's unreleased song Condone It was cool. He gave the shout out to Bruce, and again, you get a catchy chorus, and I really like the flow on the chorus. For the next track, I'm gonna go ahead and put Want It Bad in good. Tecca's just showing off his versatility again. This song actually was like one of the few few songs that was not, you know, trap at all. This was more of that, you know, dancey type of vibe, maybe even like a Jamaican type of style. But very, very cool that he got into this bag. We've heard Tecca do this a couple times before. Again, this one kind of reminded me of like Virgo World, right? But a couple of the songs that I feel like could have been on Virgo World were just a better version of it. And I just think Tecca, you know, over the years and like since those last few projects, I just felt like he's gotten so much better, more comfortable, and maybe that's just because he got older too. You know, he's like 21 now. He's not, you know, making his first project at like 15 or 16 when he was blowing up, and so we've definitely seen the progression. I'm actually gonna move up Want It Bad to the fire A tier list so I can make room for You Don't Know Tech, which to me the chorus is definitely, you know, the best part of this song in the flow that he chose. It's just kind of one of those slower songs. I still feel like that's kind of one I pretty much just kind of listen to with the album. But I really don't have too many complaints so far because at this point there was no skips in the project. Then next on the project we have Used to This, which was definitely kind of like one of those standouts for me on the back half of the project. I'm gonna slide it just into the fire A tier. Brought the energy back on this track again. The chorus is my favorite part, but I really just like those up-tempo type Tecca songs. He's really just not gonna miss. I think that this is him in his bag. This is his formula. He has mastered these type of songs, and so can't really go wrong with Used to This. Trippin' on You is one of the slower songs on the project. I'm gonna put it in the mid category. I'm still not deciding if I like this or not. I mean, I definitely think it's the weakest on the project. When I listen to the album, maybe it could have just been cut. I don't think it's like trash. I'm not gonna put it down in the Chicago Bears you know, skip category here at the bottom, but he definitely did his portion of singing, you know, borderline kind of R&B. I like that he shouted out getting that bread like Taz in this song. On Either Way, again, he kind of just, you know, said F the trap beats, we're gonna get into a different type of, you know, dancey Jamaican type, you know, influence of a type of bag. And Either Way, I realized after a few listens that I was overhyping it a little bit, and that Want It Bad is kind of a better version, so I have to put that, you know, a tier above it. I like when Tecca, you know, switches up his beats and tries out this type of music. It was fresh to hear a few tracks like that on the project because, you know, he wasn't doing the same thing every single song. So Need Me with the sample had lots of energy, you know, club type of song. I'm debating whether it is an S tier because it's grown on me a lot. I was, you know, sleeping on it at first when it dropped, but it also makes sense if I put it on the fire category. Tecca really did save best for last, but Monday to Sunday, I think this is the most slept on song on the project. This is better than Ransom. That's why I titled that the S tier. Should be as big as Ransom. Monday to Sunday is a very, very good song. Lots of energy, very, you know, up tempo. It's one of those songs that just for some reason just makes me want to get on my grind. Feels very motivational, and I like the performance Tecca gave on this. Like I said, I think that that's very, very slept on song. And secretly, I didn't know this when I listened to the album at first, I did not know that Monday to Sunday, the last track, transitions back, you know, loops back into the first track on the album, so you can kind of just play the album on repeat. I did not pick that up on first listen. I wish I did. Monday to Sunday is easily like my favorite track on the project next to Yves Saint Laurent. So Monday Sunday is amazing. That's pretty much what my tier list is looking like. I feel like I rated stuff very fairly, and this is one of my favorite tier lists I've ever made. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the best projects this year. It's definitely a top 10 project this year, and maybe even sneaking into my top 5. But again, it's only been just about a week since it released. You gotta give it up to Tecca, man. I know I've been, you know, praise, but it's like the dude literally does nothing wrong. He just gives you a fire rollout, a fire album experience every time. You know, comes back and does that for the fans every time. So he's always gonna have a very solid fan base that's gonna be supporting him. This is definitely his best project yet, you know, first or second in his catalog for sure. It's probably too early to decide, but Tec's amazing. Let me know how my tier list is in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching all the way to the end of the video. I have a Twitter, Instagram, go check me out there. I'm on the road to 2K, so please subscribe, but I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.